Well, well, well. Making vocal charts wasn't enough for you, huh? Okay. I think I got just the technology for you then. I bet you think this technology is some new rules. What if I told you there are no new rules? The rules we talked about in the vocal charting video will apply to almost any other chart as well too. Once again, we'll go through the rules one by one, but this time we'll use examples from non-vocal charts and show how it's different from the vocal charts. This will once again only be for 9-star and below. 10, 11, and 12 will be their own videos. Now, it's time for us to get back to talking about muse charting, but this time for non-vocal charts. Repeats and motifs. We talked about this last time, but we didn't talk about how to properly identify this. Our goal in this video is for you to be able to identify repeats of different length, see some interesting ways repeats are used, and another example of how to use motifs. We'll start by using an example from the 9-star Ouroboros. During one whole part, there's usually sections or sub-repeats and full repeats. The difference between a sub-repeat and a full repeat is that sub-repeats are small patterns that are usually flipped with little to no changes, while full repeats are usually copy and paste of a whole part while changing the note types. Usually you'll hear some kind of indicator in the music, whether that's a crash or a change in the music. Now let's go through this part of Ouroboros while identifying the different repeats. Let's look at another example in the same song, where the song doesn't repeat as often. Since the song splits the part into two different sections, we're going to do the same with the charts. We're going to split the chart into two different repeating sections. So let's look at what this looks like in the chart. Let's look at another example from the 9-star chart Nini. The full repeat for this part is very long, so they split it into 3 long sections with a transition. This song also does something particularly special to keep itself repeating. The section 3 repeat starts with mediums and boss projectiles, and then the second time, it's raiders and boss projectiles. That's because on the first time it happens, there's no snare noise, then on the second, the snare noise appears. Here's both those sequences back to back. For these last two examples, we're going to switch to talking about motifs. Last time it was a note type motif. This time we're going to talk about a motif with patterns and how to use motifs to repeat. We're going to use an example from the 9-star chart Magenta Potion. This part has a section that repeats multiple times throughout the song. They chart it the exact same, and they use a small plus medium motif to chart this part every time. So let's see the 3 different times this motif is used. For the last example, we're going to use the 9-star chart Satellite. This song has a part that's broken in different sections with different sounds, but has repeating sounds that happen throughout them. So let's watch the whole part with the motifs highlighted. So what did we learn? If you find the repeats, anything can be repeated. Simple and one track. Last time, we went over guidelines to help keep your sections from getting cluttered and making the gameplay easy to read. Our goal today is to learn when it's best to ignore or add to a part. The first chart we'll use is the 8-star Leave It Alone by Ahisa. This chart does a really good job of following one track. It ignores all the background stuff and follows purely on the melody. It adds the accents when needed, like the hold and the crashes on the Gemini. The patterns are simple, it doesn't include the drums, or that funky background pattern. Then as the music dies down, it gets even simpler, and it even ignores the crashes and only has the drums when it's empty. Next, we'll use an example from This Club Is Not For You. This boss section follows 2 alternating parts, and then when a new melody is added in, it switches to that melody. This boss section first focuses on the melody, and then switches to the haze when they come in. And then we repeat the exact same pattern. In the second half, a record scratch noise comes in. We ignore the original melody and haze, and switch to this because it's more complex. Let's watch the whole pattern and listen to the switch. Let's do a different example, but this time when we add things to the part. Throughout this, you'll realize that in non-vocal charts, we are slaves to the drums. Every rhythm game artist in the world will throw in the craziest drum patterns of all time. Like you'll be minding your own business like, man, what a nice pretty repeating. Huh? But you know what? That's fine. Those drum patterns, that's what rhythm game players like. We'll use this pattern from Nini to show this off. The song suddenly has a burst of drums. This is inconsistent with the pattern, but they make it work by using very simple and easy to read streams, so it feels very natural. Here's the full pattern. So what did we learn here? Always try to find the most important part and focus it. It's fine to ignore stuff, and drum patterns are king. Energy and progression. Last time we talked more about note direction. This time we're going to focus on progression. When should I do it, and what are good ways to do it? We're going to use examples from songs and patterns we've already seen in the video. So let's go back and use an example from This Club Is Not For You. This double hold repeating pattern is a perfect example of progression. This pattern repeats a total of 4 times, and then on the 5th time it changes. Then when the energy of the song goes up, it progresses again. So now let's watch the full sequence. Now let's go back to Ouroboros and see another way to progress. Another way to progress a part is to change the larges into raiders or hammers. Usually this is large 1 into raider and large 2 into hammer, mainly because the hit sounds are very similar. Now let's watch the whole section and watch the large ones get progressed into hammers and raiders. For the last example, we're going to go back to satellite. Sometimes the best way to progress a repeating part is just to turn it into a boss section. Let's watch a short clip of the original and the progress part. Before I show off a chart using these rules, let's look at the ultimate golden standard 9-star. This is the 9-star imprinting. But why this chart? Because it has everything. You think I'm lying? Motifs. Forcing repeats. Simple one-tracking. Progression! And the most simple and fun streams. In short, imprinting sums up everything in this video. Once again, for this charting process, I started out by charting all the noise. Gave me an idea of the repeats, the progression, and some ideas that I can have later on. One thing I noticed in this song particularly is it has lots and lots of repeats and lots of motifs. So now let's get into it and watch the chart. Different ideas and rules will be highlighted. This is the 9-star Night Blaze by Raphael.
Ready, go!
Mr. Seven, sir. I've watched your videos and my charts aren't ranked. Why is this?
Well, simple enough. Your chart probably wasn't good enough. Just watching these videos alone isn't going to give you the skill for this. Most of charting is about experience and finding these rules for yourself. Remember, these videos are here to help you. Help you as in help you while you chart. But remember, charting is supposed to be a fun experience, whether you're making it for yourself or you're making it for others to play. Charting is fun. If you know, you know.